Hi everyone and welcome to Module 3D. So today we're going to talk about getting user input. And so the idea is that, with reading from files, that's great. If stuff's in a file, we get all that information and we plug it into Python. That's very useful. Except sometimes when we're just writing like a quick script, for example, we're going to want to ask the human that ran the computer, say, hey, give me 5 numbers, and then I'll compute the average of that, for example. So to do this, we're going to want to need input. So that is actually a keyword in Python, is input. So if I just call that, then I give it, say, a string. I give it hey. And notice it spits back these quotes here. It says the string of hey. Input will always get a string from the user. It says read a string from standard input. So if we call input and we give it a number, example, for 12, it is the string of 12, not the integer of 12. If we call it with 5.6, we get the string of 5.6. And that is a huge deal, and we're going to come to that pretty shortly. But for now, we're going to read stuff into a file, or not into a file, into a variable. So s is equal to input, as for string. And so if I say, hi, my name is Greg, then we have that as a string. That is great. Now, we also want to be able to read in numbers, and so for that, we rely on the user to not do something stupid, which means if we say something like, and by the way, you can provide some sort of prompt so they know what to do, give me a integer, okay? So if I do that, I call that, it says give me an integer, okay, I'll give you hi. Well, that wasn't an integer. And so this is fine right now because we're not doing anything. And by the way, you should put a \n here so it doesn't look kind of silly. Give me an integer hi. Well, right now this is fine. But if we ask what type this thing is, it is a string, and that's always true. So how do we know it's an integer? Well, I'll call int of s on this thing. So now if I get the input and I pass it 12, and I make it into an integer, okay, now it is the integer of 12. It's just 12. But that's relying on the user to not do something stupid, because there's no way to stop them from doing this, for example. I give them hey, and then I turn hey into an integer. Well, that is not going to work. It says, hey, you gave me hey, and I can't turn that into an integer. That makes no sense. And same thing if we tried float of s or whatever to convert it into a number, it's not going to work. So how do we get around this? Well, we're going to dedicate a lot more time into this later, except for now, we're just going to assume that they did pass an integer. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to not break the program if they didn't pass an integer. Okay, so we don't want an error here. We want to do something else, like just discard the information or give them feedback and say, you didn't give me an integer. I will show you that in the next video.